Imagine walking into a pawn shop with a small pouch of old coins and walking out with enough money to buy a car, maybe even two. Sounds insane, right? Well, what if I told you a stash of Civil War era gold coins, buried in Kentucky dirt for over 150 years, just hit the Pawn Stars counter? And one of them might be one of the best preserved examples alive today? Yes, somebody actually brought pieces of it straight to Pawn Stars. What happened next? Unreal. Let's break it down. People talk about treasure like it's something from movies, maps, pirates, X marks the spot. But sometimes treasure doesn't need legends. It just needs a storm washing away a patch of Kentucky dirt. That's how the world first heard about the Great Kentucky Hoard, a discovery so shocking that collectors had trouble believing it was real. A farmer, just doing routine work, suddenly unearthed a cluster of gold coins. Not one, not five, a whole hoard. Hundreds of pieces of Civil War gold, preserved as if time itself refused to touch them. Coins from 1860, 1861, 1862, 1863, the very years when America was tearing itself apart. And somehow, more than a century later, these coins still looked brand new. Now here's where Pawn Stars enters the picture. A woman walks in, holding a selection of coins her uncle was able to get from the Great Kentucky Hoard. Not replicas, not damaged, dirt-eaten pieces. These were the real deal, and they were some of the cleanest survivors from that legendary discovery. Rick and the team instantly perk up because the Hoard had already become famous online, known for producing gold coins in shockingly high grades. The fact that someone was bringing pieces of that exact treasure into the shop, that alone was insane. She lays out the coins, 9 of them, each one shimmering with a soft, untouched glow. And instantly, the Pawn Stars crew recognizes what they're dealing with. Civil War gold, burial preserved gold, potentially 6-figure value gold. To avoid any mistakes, they call in Spencer, a coin expert who had already seen multiple coins from the Kentucky Hoard and knew exactly how rare, how pristine, and how collectible these pieces were. When he walks in and sees them laid out on the table, he doesn't hide his reaction. These weren't just rare coins. These were elite coins. Coins that looked like they had been minted yesterday, not during Abraham Lincoln's presidency. Now let's walk through each coin the way the show did, because every single one has a story, and every single one has value that can blow your mind. The first coin Spencer picks up is the 1863 $20 Liberty Head gold piece. If you know anything about numismatics, you know this coin is a Civil War giant. Minted in the middle of conflict, it circulated heavily at the time. Most surviving examples are scratched, worn, dented, damaged from use. But this one, clean, smooth, almost untouched. The soil where it was buried acted like a natural vault, preventing light, air, moisture, and human handling from destroying the surfaces. Spencer immediately points out the lack of contact marks, the unusually bright luster, the near impossible preservation for a coin of this age. It's the kind of coin collectors dream about, because almost nobody gets to see one this fresh, let alone own it. Then she pulls out the second major piece, an 1860 Type 3 gold dollar. Don't let its tiny size fool you. This coin is a monster in the collecting world. It's one of the smallest coins ever minted by the US, made of nearly pure gold. The problem with tiny coins like this is they dent easily, scratch easily, and lose detail incredibly fast. But again, the Kentucky soil was kinder than any human. This 1860 gold dollar shines with an unbelievable brightness, the Lady Liberty portrait crisp and untouched, the edges sharp, the reverse details full. Spencer even notes that the coin looks like it was preserved in a capsule, not worked into the ground for over a century. Then comes the star of the haul, the coin that makes Spencer visibly excited, the rare double flags variety. This variety features a crossed flags motif, a small artistic detail that only certain dies carry. It's rare to find at all. It's almost impossible to find in high grade. And finding one preserved underground with minimal damage, bright surfaces, and full detail, that is the kind of thing that makes collectors throw serious money at auctions. Spencer literally says he has never seen one look this clean, coming out of a buried hoard. But the crazy part comes next. The Kentucky Hoard had a reputation, not because of how many coins were found, but because of the grade these coins received when collectors sent them for professional evaluation. The grading companies were shocked. Some of these coins were coming back at MS 70. That stands for Mint State 70, meaning absolutely perfect. A perfect grade for a coin minted during the Civil War. You could call that once in a lifetime. You could call it impossible. You could also call it six figures. Spencer explains that one of the coins from this same hoard, same dirt, same burial conditions, was graded MS-70 and immediately became one of the most valuable modern discovered gold coins of its type. The idea that the coins she brought in could possibly achieve similar grades was jaw-dropping. Suddenly, you're not talking small money. You're talking potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars in value. That's not a pawn shop moment. That's a life-changing moment. As Spencer goes through each coin, you can feel the tension. These aren't random antiques. These are rare artifacts of American history. Pieces that survived the Civil War, survived time, survived burial, and emerged almost frozen in their original state. No one expected the coins to be this clean. No one expected them to still glow with mint luster. And certainly no one expected any of them to rival some of the best preserved Civil War coins ever graded. One key point Spencer emphasizes is how unusual it is for a hoard, any hoard, to produce coins in this condition. Usually buried coins suffer. They corrode, they tarnish, they degrade. But gold behaves differently than other metals. It doesn't rust. It doesn't react to the environment as aggressively. Combine that with ideal soil conditions and the fact that the coins were buried together, minimizing movement and friction, and suddenly you get something miraculous. Nature acting as a time capsule. But even so, it takes the perfect combination of factors to get a near-perfect coin from 160 years ago. And that's why the Kentucky Hoard became so famous. It was a once-in-history moment. Buried treasure that time refused to damage. When Spencer finishes inspecting the coins, even he seems impressed. The variety, the condition, the rarity, everything lines up. A secret held underground for over a century, now resurfacing in broad daylight under the neon lights of a Las Vegas pawn shop. The episode becomes more than just a negotiation. It's a demonstration of how history can hide in plain sight, how treasure can sleep in the earth for generations before shocking everyone, how a moment of luck or fate can turn ordinary people into holders of extraordinary value. By the end of the evaluation, the message is clear. These coins aren't just collectibles. They're artifacts. They're investments. They're pieces of gold that traveled through war, through time, through soil, and somehow emerged as some of the finest examples known to exist. And that is why the Great Kentucky Hoard is legendary. Not just for what was found, but for how it survived. And not just for its preservation, but for what it means to collectors today. So if you love jaw-dropping discoveries, real-life treasure stories, and iconic Pawn Stars moments, then like and subscribe to our channel, because the world of rare coins is full of secrets waiting to be uncovered in our videos.